It is your homie, Stylewise. What's going on, guys? I've got Jim from Discovery DJs on the line. How you doing, man?
Good, thanks.
And what we're going to be talking about today is how you can get more higher paid gigs, and also just some specifics about what Jim has done and how you can achieve similar success for yourself. Just a little background. Jim he's got 12 years of experience as a DJ and an MC. He's done hundreds and hundreds of events, and he's a regular contributor to Mobile Beat magazine, which is one of the most recognized DJ magazines out there. And he's had over 50 articles published on DJing and marketing for DJs. So, Jim, welcome, and thanks for joining me, man.
Sure, yeah, appreciate it.
Let's just start with how you got your start, man.
Yeah, start was real simple. I was in high school every Friday. When you go between your classes, the passing periods, they had someone that would play music. They started it when I was in high school, and I ended up getting to be the person that did it when I was a senior in high school. And I looked forward to those Fridays all week long. I would be thinking of my songs, and in between classes, friends would be like, "Oh, that was a cool song you played," and it was always really exciting. And I loved the response and the energy. And so then I started through the school. I met the DJ that did all of our dances. He kind of got me into schools. I did schools for a while, and then started doing weddings. Just kind of built my business up from there, basically primarily through web, through search engine optimization, just reading everything I possibly could. I was just such a nerd. Like, I just sit on my computer and read all these articles and try to tweak my website and just make it show up number one. And me and some friends, when I was in Chicago, we would give each other a hard time about, okay, I'm number one now. Okay, now you're number one. It was this kind of this big deal. And fortunately, I moved to Dallas almost 9 years ago, and was able to continue to build my business here.
From what I understand, the majority of how you get gigs, the majority of how people find you is through your website. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a couple wedding coordinators who I've fortunately impressed so much that they refer me to their clients. I have several photographers that they like working with me and like my work, so they refer me, and several venues too. But you can't hit nearly the amount of people that you can hit with just a good website, because 24/7 it's there. Anybody can search for you, find you anytime, day or night. My blog has been really amazing too, and I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon with that a few years ago, and I highly recommend it to anybody, just because you can give people an idea of what you're doing, how busy you are. Obviously helps if you're busier, but I try to put up a blog post for every wedding. And some of that relies on the photographers, because I rely on photographers to give me their pictures so that it looks nice. But you don't even have to do that. You can just take a couple pictures yourself, and people, your blog posts will show up, and people will find you that way.
Definitely, the internet is important in you getting gigs, and blogging as well. Let's talk a little bit about how you get referrals. So you mentioned wedding coordinators, photographers, venues. How did you get in with those people, and how did you establish relationships with them, and how do you go about maintaining those relationships?
All those the venues, photographers, all those people, it's just the way that I conduct myself when I'm at an event, and they like my style, the fact that I wasn't cheesy. I had one photographer recently at the end of the wedding. She came up to me, she said, "I've been doing this over 10 years. She said 99% of DJs, I will not ask for a business card because they do one of three things that really annoys me, and I think it's not professional." And she said, "You didn't do one of those three, so I'm asking you for your card, and I'd like to refer you." The three things she said, not being overly cheesy on the microphone. The one big one that I thought was funny is she said, a lot of DJs, even like these big, well-known high-end DJs here in Dallas, she said they shush on the microphone. Like, if someone's trying to give a toast, they'll get on the microphone, they'll be like, "Hey, everybody, shh, be quiet." And she's like, that's so annoying. It's so childish, and they're interrupting the moment. So little things like that, apparently stand out in people's minds. And then as far as networking with them, last year, 3 or 4 of the coordinators I really work with, and a couple of the photographers and venues I sent little cookie baskets to. It didn't cost me a lot. I think it was like $25. I think I bought 8 or 10 of them, and had them shipped to people. And it was just like a nice little way to stay top of mind, because I'm sure they have a lot of people that want their referrals. And then just being really responsive to them and their clients. If someone refers someone to me, I'm going to make sure to take extra care of them so it gets back to the person that referred.
let's talk a little bit more about the website, man. In terms of your website, like besides, well, let's see. So definitely having a website, having stuff that people can see, pictures and reviews and stuff like that. How did you get the website up, and what do you do to maintain it?
I built my first website, and for years I built my own website. And then probably about 5 years ago, I had my first professionally designed. And it was a really nice change. I really noticed the difference in it. And then about 2 years ago, it was ready for a refresh because, trends in design change. And so I hired a company out of Florida, and I specifically picked a company run by women to do the redesign because I know my target market, which is women. It's brides. So I said, I want a woman designing my website. I want a woman designing all my things because I feel like, not that a guy can't do it, but I just feel like they have a little bit different touch. And I feel like it really does kind of market to brides. If you're a school DJ, not that you have to get like a high school kid to do it, but I might get someone younger or a guy, something just kind of knowing your audience. And that's what I did in terms of having them build it for me. And then I maintain it and, just keep it up to date. I get pictures from photographers. I stay in touch with them. I email them usually about 2 months after the wedding and ask them for pictures. 90% of them are really cool about it, and they'll send them to me. So it makes my website look better. It promotes them. And I keep my website fresh. I update the content probably every few months, just rewrite the text a little bit, make sure it's nice and short and sweet, to the point.
Let's talk a little bit about more about marketing and advertising. One of the biggest things that I advocate to other DJs is to become a specialist and to not be a slut, to not be a servant, and to actually specialize in one thing. And I know we were talking about before the interview about how you said that was a shift that you made. So how did you identify that weddings was what you wanted to specialize in, and what have been some of the benefits of that?
I enjoy doing other types of events. I love doing schools. I don't think there's any type of energy. There's nothing more than like being in front of like a couple thousand students. When I was in Chicago, I attended the biggest high school in Illinois. I did my homecoming at my school the year after I left, and I think like 4,000 students attended it. And it's ridiculous. I mean, the energy you get in playing in front of 4,000 kids, you can't match that. So it was kind of a tough decision, but I realized that I did want to focus on one area. I wasn't a big fan of the constant battle between the administrators and students in terms of music and lyrical content and stuff. And I also felt like weddings were, just something, I generally enjoyed them. I felt like they were more pressure, but I like doing them. And it is fulfilling at the end of the day, when I've had brides come up to me and cry at the end of their wedding reception saying they had such a good time and it was just as beautiful as they could possibly imagine. And it's fulfilling too. So, it's fun and fulfilling.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's something that I find really important and something that I've talked about on the blog before, which is not just making money and not just making a difference. It's actually doing both. It sounds like you get both of those things from doing weddings, which is really cool.
Yeah, totally. I do feel real happy at the end of the night when someone says that it was perfect and they had such a good time. It makes me feel happy.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about pricing in terms of specifics. What are you charging and how do you charge, and what are some of the ways that you deal with pricing?
I've been doing this for 10, 11 years, something like that. For years, I did these packages by the hour with lights, without lights, all these different things. About 2 years ago, I decided to just have this all-in-one package that basically I call the wedding reception package. It's everything for a wedding reception. So your sound system, your wireless microphone, master of ceremonies, your DJ, your programming, your planning, all that stuff. And when I kind of kicked into full gear a couple years ago and got real serious about my business again after taking some time off, I was charging $1,300 for that package. Then I went to $1,450. Then I went to $1,600, which is where I'm at right now in 2012. And I'm quoting $1,750 for 2013, and I've booked several at that rate, and so far it's been pretty good. I notice each time I go up, I kind of cut out a few people, but it's a matter of the value of what they get for the night and knowing all the different things that I do for them, and the timeline that I do for them. I create a timeline for everybody. I have online planning tools so they can pick all their music and give me all the information. My expertise in terms of I get emails from people all the time about random different things that maybe don't even apply to the music or just random questions of reception. that I can help them out with and help make their reception better.
And I'm sure you have add-ons for lighting and stuff like that. So what kind of add-ons do you offer, and how do you deal with those?
I do ceremonies. I charge $250 for a ceremony. That includes me bringing out the system, setting up the music, putting a lavalier mic on their officiant. Those are pretty common here in Texas, just because it's so nice most of the year. So I do a fair amount of those. Lighting is real big. Uplighting, generally charging somewhere between $600 and $700 for uplighting. And I have this just package, and it's as many lights as you need for your room. I bring out a whole bunch with me, usually about 20. Most rooms need somewhere between like 12 and 16 for the room to look really great. But that way, I just set it up for them, and they know no matter how many lights it takes, it'll look really good. 80% of my weddings these days are doing some sort of decor lighting, uplighting.
Can you walk me through the process of how you get someone to go from being interested in what you do to actually getting them to invest in your services? What's your process for that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a good question, because I have a pretty good process, I feel like. Like I said, I respond to every single email personally. I make a point of telling people I don't use autoresponders. I used to use them, and I kind of feel like they're impersonal, and so I respond to each and every email, and I have templates basically saved, so it saves me a lot of time. I'm still writing each one and customizing each one, but it cuts down my time drastically since I get so many. So like I have a specific email that I call like wedding quote request, and that's after they email me, and 9 times out of 10 they're emailing saying I found your website or whatever, and I want to know how much you charge. I don't want to just give them my price right off the bat, because I want to build somewhat of a rapport.
Right.
I send them one email back asking just a couple questions just to get something back from them.
What do you actually say? Because this is something we talk about a lot. What do you actually say when they ask for the price? Because they always do, and anybody who does well at this knows that you can't tell them the price right away. So how do you respond to that specifically?
Yeah, I do. I try to keep it super short, and I usually ask 2 or 3 questions. And the template questions for me are: do they need me for their just the reception, or do they need me for the ceremony also? And do they have any other needs in terms of lighting or anything else? So if they take the time to send me an email back, because I know they're just going, a lot of them are going around and just rapid fire emailing as many as they can.
Right.
So I don't want to just fire back a price. I want to have a little bit of an email back and forth. And so many times I get an email back, oh, thank you so much. I can't believe how fast you responded. I can't believe that you responded at all, because some people just don't respond. So they give me an idea, and then usually in that email they'll give me more than just the answers to my questions. They'll usually start to open up a little bit at that point, and then I respond back. At that point, I'll give prices. There's differing philosophies on that. That's just my way of working. Like I don't want to have a meeting with someone unless they know my price. Just because if someone's budget's $500 and I'm 16, like more than likely they're not going to come up, and I'm not like a salesman kind of guy. So I do that back and forth, and the one that I give them the price, it's pretty short. All my emails are real short and to the point. And at the end of that one, I say, okay, well, at this point, I'd like to try and set up a meeting so I can get to know you and what you're looking for, and you can get to know me. And then I try to I do have a sales background, so like an assumptive close by just saying, when would be a good day and time for you to meet. And my form on my website asks for their address. It's not required, so probably 50% of people don't put it on there, but the 50% that do, I'll say, oh, I see you're in this area. Would, this Starbucks on this day work? And try and just pinpoint a meeting time. If I had to guess, only about 15% of people actually do the meeting and actually follow up, just because at my price, I'm quite a bit more than the average budget. I'd say the average budget is probably like $800 to $1,000. Mm-hmm. So I am sending out a lot of emails and not getting a response after they have their price. But it's like direct mail. There's statistics like you send out direct mail, and if you get 2 or 3% or 5% back, that's like ridiculous. And I feel like at 15 or 20%, I feel like that's pretty good. Right.
Well, the numbers are what matter, and if you're able to start with a base of $1,750 for doing one gig, and most DJs in the market that you're in are charging around $1,000 or so. If you have a couple add-ons, you could basically be making 3-4 times what someone's making per gig and working less, which is definitely an awesome an awesome thing. And I always encourage DJs to move more towards the high end. What else was I going to ask you about? Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit about advertising, because I know you do some advertising. So what kind of advertising do you do, and also how does that work for you?
Yeah, I have an ad on Wedding Wire. I started that 2 years ago, and it's been very successful for me. When I look at my website statistics, other than organic searches, other than people just searching on Yahoo or Google or whatever their search engine is, and finding me, the next highest way people find me is on Wedding Wire. And the thing I like about Wedding Wire, why I decided to finally do my first real advertising, is because of reviews. People are real big on, with social media, there's Twitter and there's Facebook and there's Yelp and there's TripAdvisor, and there's all these websites where people go to get reviews and feedback in real time from people. And people really value those reviews because they're third party. They should be pretty trustworthy and reliable.
So the Wedding Wire ads are definitely working well for you?
For me it is, and I think, for each market it would be different. It was a sizable investment. It's like $3,500 for the year, and before I committed, I did my homework, and I called 3 or 4. I looked up various markets. I looked up Chicago, I looked up like New York, LA. I looked up a few of the big markets, and I found the guy that had that same spot for those markets because it's the absolute highest ad you can have. I called those guys and I said, how is it working for you? And the guy I called in Chicago actually said he's had other DJs try to buy his spot, like offer to pay him just to have that spot, and then they would pay for the advertising on top of it.
Wow. That's
how coveted it is in Chicago. And the fact that it was available here in Dallas, there was only one spot available. They only allowed 2 in the spot that I have. So I said, well, geez, if you're getting offers for people to buy it from you, I'm like, I'll try it for a year and see how it works. And so it's just a combination of hitting them from all different angles, and finding me on search engines, and finding me on Wedding Wire, and finding my multiple websites, since I kind of have those going out there.
Cool. Yeah, and I know you also have like the Facebook integration on the website. How do you mainly deal with the social media thing? Are you just updating people? What kind of things are you doing in terms of Facebook and social media?
Yeah, I have a system in place. Typically my system is within 3 or 4 days after a wedding, I post pictures that I took on my camera, which are usually pretty lousy pictures, on my Facebook page. And that's my way just to, kind of show everybody, hey, I'm out there, I'm busy, I'm working. And it's also good for publicity in terms of people will tag themselves, they'll tag them friends. I start showing up in everybody's news feed. I've seen moms respond to the post, oh, this is awesome, we had such a good time, stuff like that. So then prospective people come and see. So my system is I post my own pictures a few days after on my Facebook page. I try to tag all the vendors that I worked with and thank them. That allows me to show up on their page. I've actually had several people call me because they saw a post that I made on my business page, but it showed up on on a venue's page that I tagged. So they saw that and then they contacted me.
Excellent.
So that's my routine for Facebook. I don't do anything with Twitter, really. I'm not really a big Twitter person. And then the finale with all that is the blog, which is the real post where I go in depth. I talk a lot about the wedding, and then I get the professional pictures and use those, so it looks real nice.
Okay, cool, man. Let me try to just sort of sum up what we've covered so far. So definitely you absolutely have to have a website. It is really not even a choice. And also, most importantly, a blog where you can showcase the work that you're doing and show people that you're a professional and show people that you're consistent about this. Let's see. Definitely advertising is something that you found is incredibly powerful. The importance of investing in advertising and actually investing in building and growing your business, also very important. And reviews. For anybody listening that wants to check out Jim's company, Discovery DJs, it's discoverydjs.com. You can see just on the bottom left there, if you scroll down a little bit, all of his reviews are just phenomenal. 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. People regularly saying that they were just incredibly pleased with what you do, man. So I got to start to wrap up, but if you could just sort of leave people with, DJs who want to raise the level that they're playing at in terms of DJing and break into these higher markets, higher paying gigs, what would you say to those guys?
Yeah, the biggest thing is remember that it's a business and treat it like a business. Be responsive, follow up with people, respond to the emails quickly, respond to phone calls quickly, have follow up in general. When I have meetings with people, I'll take notes, and sometimes it's they want me to look for a particular version of this song or that song, and I make sure I follow up on all those things. And it's the little things, I think, that make you stand out. It's not the big things. It's not having the big huge light show or the big huge sound system. It's the little things you do in your actions and the way you run your business that will stand out to people and make them want to refer you to their friends and family. And then you're more than likely in this because you love music and you like being in front of people. So the DJing thing more than likely will probably come to you pretty naturally. So the business side is what you can do the best with in terms of focusing on.
Definitely, yeah, guys. That's where the power is. That's where the opportunity is to increase your understanding of how to promote yourself, how to market yourself better. That's really where you can experience some of the biggest results in terms of actually increasing your DJ income without becoming a better DJ than you already are. Jim, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure, man, and you're definitely an example, an ideal example, a symbol of a successful DJ and someone who can definitely inspire a lot of other DJs. Man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and on behalf of all of the subscribers of SuccessfulDJ.com, thank you, and we really appreciate it, man.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I look forward to reading your blog from here forward.